which choice most logically completes the text? Now we're just kind of end the story, right? You're kind of telling the conclusion. That's what we're guessing. So let's look at the story. Let's look at the passage. Colonized by Spain in the 1600s, New Mexico is home to a dialect of Spanish that differs significantly from dialects spoken in Spain's other former colonies in the Americas. Most notably, the New Mexican dialect retains older features of the language that other dialects lost in later centuries. But why would it have done so? New Mexico was so distant from population centers in Spain's other colonies that it attracted few colonists after its initial colonization. Geographical isolation, in turn, would have limited the exposure of New Mexican colonists to changes occurring to Spanish grammar and vocabulary elsewhere in the empire. Thus, the present-day uniqueness of the New Mexican dialect suggests the extent to which it was isolated. They're basically just repeating what they just said, that it was isolated and that caused the language to be different, I guess. So we're just looking for something that kind of sounds like that. A language can protect itself from being influenced by other languages. Is it protecting itself? That seems kind of a weird way to put it. So I don't know. I don't love that. The grammar and vocabulary of any given language change from one generation to the next. It's not about time. I guess kind of it is, but what they're really saying is it's about geography. It's about location. C, geographical isolation can influence how a language develops. Yeah, that's probably it. Speakers of one dialect of a language can understand. No, it's not about the speakers, so it's definitely not that. So I understand why A and B are kind of tempting because they're hitting on ideas that are mentioned in some way in the passage. But notice it logically completes. You kind of have to let the story tell itself. And that last little bit that we're providing is just like kind of related to the thing we probably just said. It's meant to be like an argument, and the conclusion of the argument is what we're going for. So they're arguing that New Mexican dialect is different because they were isolated. So we just want to say this is demonstrating how isolation affects a language. We're not adding anything really, we're just restating, but we're taking it from the very specific example of New Mexico that they're giving us to a much broader example. And in this case, we're allowed to do that because that's what the question wants from us. But it is kind of funny that I just chose the word isolated as my dumb summary, and it turns out that's the exact match with the question. So that does happen. So that's why dumb summaries are great, because they let you focus on the idea that matters most without getting distracted by the details.